Okay, welcome back to the channel. We have questions today how do you challenge a patent, or sometimes be called invalidate a patent, and what are the processes involved in doing that? And there's several different ways to go about doing it. But let me kind of back up and talk about the starting point with all this. You file a patent, it gets issued, it gets examined by the government. The government decides that you're deserving of a patent, and they issue a patent. And that patent is then enforceable at that point, meaning that you can go to court and sue somebody on it. And it can also be invalidated at that point. But you can't invalidate it before it issues. There are ways to try and slow it down from issuing, or provide evidence to the patent office during the process. And I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about after it's issued, when it can be enforced. How do you go about invalidating or challenging that patent? So there are administrative procedures to go about doing that. There are several different options, but they're called post-grant challenges. So after grant, you challenge it. And there are ways to do it where it's ex parte, just Latin for meaning that you can do it without it being adversarial between the filer and the person making the decision. So you can submit this post-grant challenge and ask the patent office to look at it again, and then the person that has the patent can engage with the patent office and go back and forth. And then there's inter partes challenges, which is Latin again, just meaning that two parties are arguing about it. So you'll file it, and then you're arguing with the other side in a controlled manner, where the patent office is ultimately making the decision as the referee. And those are the administrative challenges. And ex parte, generally tens of thousands of dollars to file those. And inter partes is $100,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars to go about doing that, which is a fraction of the cost of going to court. And those are the other ways to go about challenging it. You can't just challenge any patent in court. You have to have a reason. You have to have standing, is what the legal concept is, meaning that there has to be a threat that the patent is going to be enforced against you. So if you have a competitor that says, gee whiz, we see your product out there, and here's our patent, we think that you infringe it, you then have the capability of going to the court of your choosing and getting a declaratory judgment, an analysis from the court, so as to say that you don't infringe or that the patent is invalid. You can initiate the lawsuit even if the patent holder does not initiate. And I guess the other way is where you do get sued for infringement of a patent, then you have the ability to say and argue that the patent should never have been granted, it's invalid, or that the activity that you're doing does not infringe upon the patent. And those litigations can be, millions of dollars, maybe on the low end, $1.5 million to challenge a patent in court, but it can be much more than that, depending on the complexity of the case, how many claims there are in the patent, how much the other side fights back, what part of the country you're in, how much money is at stake, has an effect on how hard people fight about these things. So you have the administrative challenges, either just filing the information and having the patent office decide, or you can have it be an adversarial proceeding where you're going back and forth with the other side, and volleying back and forth with the patent office thinking about it. In these inter partes challenges, or you then have the court options. And the court options require there to be a real threat of suit. Someone has to have identified an activity of yours and pointed out a patent that it corresponds to. Not simply a press release that they have a patent. It has to be directed to you or one of your products in one of their patents, not just, hey, we think these guys have problems with their patents. It has to be particularized to give you the standing to go into court and have them adjudicate that and remove this cloud that forms over your business that could affect your business if your customers think that you're under threat of suit. You can have that removed. Certainly if somebody sues you, you have the ability, as one of the defenses, is to say that the patent is invalid or not infringed. And that's a lot of what the litigations tend to be about. So I hope that answers the question. Please put in the comments any additional questions that you might have around this area, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.